What's going on, guys? Anime Yokage back at it again. Sorry for a little bit of delay, but work happens, life begins. Sorry about that. Anyways, let's jump into it with chapter 251 of Jujutsu Kaisen. I know last week I accidentally sent 260, and I really stuck to it when I made the animations and everything. Please forgive me. I'll try and make sure that doesn't happen again. So the chapter actually begins revealing that Yuta copied Sakuna's curse technique from his final finger. You know, the one that we could never find and he could never find. Yuta found it, or was given it. But it seems to be implied that Yuta had to eat the finger in order to actually take in the curse technique. I think that's a problem, because I believe that if they were able to expel Sakuna from Megumi's body, that now that Yuta has a piece of Sakuna within him, that Sakuna may be able to take over Yuta's body now. I know that's a stretch, but don't even tell me that's out of the ballpark. The only way that I feel like he could circumvent this and also not be affected by the poison that comes with eating Sukuna's finger, kind of like the backlash, is having Rika eat it. And I don't even know if that means that he can use it himself, the curse technique, or if Rika has to hand him the things. Remember in the movie Zero, whenever she handed him the cursed speech like megaphone? I don't know if she eats it that she has to hand him the technique and she stores it, or if he eats it that he stores it within himself. So in the next panel over, Yuta and Yuji are absolutely giving it to Sakuna. See some nasty uppercuts, see some nasty knees from Yuji, and one of the attacks, Sakuna actually attacks Yuji and makes him spit up blood, but he takes that blood and even spits it into Sakuna's eye, showing that he's so determined and he'll use absolutely anything he can to attack. Rika grabs Sakuna by the leg and gives him the Hulk Loki treatment from the Avengers. And while she's doing this, Yuji actually managed to land a kick on him while he's being slammed down. The teamwork here is impeccable. And Sakuna actually has a moment to where he's realizing that his control over Megumi's body and the cursed energy output is dulling dramatically. And because Sakuna is getting beaten so badly, he actually resorts to unleashing the Hollow Wicker Basket and just launching a counterattack. He's going to try and unleash the world cutting slash, and then also at the same time tanking the damage from Jacob's Ladder, because Jacob's Ladder is the sure hit effect within this domain. And it's like a drone, it is just locked in on him, waiting for the moment to attack. And as we've explained in previous videos, that Jacob's Ladder absolutely burnt Sakuna to a crisp last time it hit him. I'm not sure if him having more control over his body now and being a little bit more powerful is going to affect the amount of damage that's inflicted on him, but it's still not good. It's completely directed at exorcising him and purging him out of Megumi's body. Of course, Yuta and Yuji actually knew this would happen, and they've already planned for it. Their first plan of attack is to tie up Sakuna's arm so he can't unleash his curse technique. Even so, he's still able to shoot some off at him, but Yuta is noticing that Sakuna's curse technique is getting weaker and weaker. So he decides to move in a little bit closer and attack Sakuna a little bit more acutely. Yuta is actually able to cut off one of Sakuna's arms, and in that process, Yuji actually is able to make the blood that he spit in Sakuna's eye explode like supernova from Choso. This confirms that Yuji is able to use blood manipulation. And earlier in this fight, whenever Sakuna blocked a piercing blood and we didn't see who shot it, it's gotta be Yuji. And I can't wait to see all the different curse techniques that he's able to implement. Speaking of Choso, you remember whenever he gave Yuji Yuki's book on the soul, that somehow she knew everything about the soul? Well, Yuji learned some things. Yuji gives us a flashback showing what he learned from Yuki's book and saying that whenever two souls are in the same body, they can be merged, but only a little bit. They can never become one. And with this knowledge, knowing that Megumi's soul cannot be completely overtaken, that he is still in there, Yuji's going to do everything he can to break out of this. In the flashback, Hana adds that Angel's curse technique, Jacob's Ladder, is actually a perfect curse technique for this exact plan. And the plan is to separate Sakuna and Megumi's soul little by attacking the realm in between their souls. And once the tuning is enough out of frequency and the cursed energy is dulled enough, Yuji will be able to save Megumi by letting Jacob's Ladder attack Sakuna and try and purge him out of Megumi's body. And now that Yuji and Rika are both holding Sakuna's four arms completely out and Hollow Wicker Basket is disabled, Yuta hits him with it. Maximum output, Jacob's Ladder. And after they hit him with Jacob's Ladder, you know how like if you leave a pizza in the oven too long and like forget about it, you come back and it's completely burnt to a crisp and inedible? That's Sakuna. After Sakuna is sitting there burnt to a crisp after Jacob's Ladder, Yuji takes that opportunity to hit him with a soul attack punch and yelling, "Wake up, Fushiguro." Yuji had calculated everything perfectly, but once he sees Megumi's soul inside of the body, it's just repeating over and over again. I don't care anymore. Megumi's soul has completely lost the will to live, and it doesn't care what happens anymore. He's completely giving up. Can you blame him? After everything that he's been put through, it's not just stealing his body. His sister got killed, his master got killed, his dad is gone. He never really had a relationship with Toji, but he's gone too. And now his body is being used to attack every other person that he loves. And on top of that, he's even lost his curse technique, I think, because Maharaga and the other 10 shadows have been completely decimated. So even if he gets out of this, I don't know if his curse technique will ever come back. I'm sure that he would much rather live and just not have his curse technique, but also his body has been completely manipulated. I don't know if his body can go back after this. If it's something like idle transfiguration or anything like that, or something like it, who's to say that his body can even be transformed? I don't know if whenever Sakuna leaves him, his body will just go back to normal very conveniently. It's, and I'm not saying that I agree with him to give up, but I get it. In that split second of finding out that Megumi has completely given up, Sakuna hits them with it. World cutting slash, hitting Yuta, Rika, and Yuji all at the same time. And you can see that it's cutting straight through Yuta. And in that moment, it looks up and his domain is actually shattering. Now, if you're anything like me in that moment with Yuta's barrier shattering and him being cut completely in two, you'd say, oh no, these guys are dead. But even though we don't get confirmation that they are dead, I don't think they are just yet. And with the barrier breaking, someone else steps into the cage. Without being detected at all due to heavenly restriction, Maki appears on the scene, and she stabs Sakuna straight through his back with the soul-splitting sword. And I don't know if it's because the barrier is breaking and Maki was able to make her way into the domain, or if she's been there the entire time. We see that Yuta now has the ability to attack one single person with a sure hit effect within the domain. And Maki having heavenly restriction makes her undetectable by anyone using cursed energy as a radar. So she may have been hiding inside the domain this entire time, waiting for her moment to pop out and attack Sakuna when it mattered most. And now, if Rika, Yuji, and Yuta are able to use reverse curse technique and heal themselves, along with Maki also joining the fray, things are looking pretty good. I hate to be optimistic when it comes to Jujutsu Kaisen. I know that I will just be let down. Any hope that I have will be crashed. Any kind of gleaming light will be shut out. I know, Gege's a dick. But this is looking pretty good. I can't say that I'm completely convinced that Sakuna's going to win, which is definitely a change of pace of how I've been feeling this entire fight. The narrator rubs some sand in Sakuna's wound by saying that he's disappointed that Sakuna fell for such a mediocre surprise attack by Maki. He says that it's a mediocre plan that could have been easily avoided by Sakuna. I guess that if he wasn't underestimating them. I love the narrator giving it to Sakuna, but this was a really good plan. I don't know how this could have been easily avoided had he known what was going to happen, because after he got stuck in the domain, there's nothing he could have done other than hold the hollow wicker basket or just start firing off as many world cutting slashes as he could right from the get go. Actually, now that I say that, that's probably would have been the best course of action. But what did you guys think about the chapter? I know it's a ton of fan service, it's a ton of unanswered questions that we've been looking for, and an appearance by Maki that we've all been waiting for. I'm a little disappointed that Jacob's Ladder didn't do more damage than it was supposed to. It seems like the sky manipulation technique, Thin Icebreaker, almost did more damage than Jacob's Ladder did. But it all happened so quickly, there's no way for me to tell, or us to tell, that how deep the damage was. There's no way for us to tell at this point, and I guess we'll have to wait till next week. Because I was just so sure that Jacob's ladder would be very devastating and would almost completely sever the attachment between Sakuna and Megumi. Maybe it did. I don't know. We'll see. But also, Sakuna doesn't look burnt to a crisp anymore. It's kind of really Looney Tunes ish. He was super burnt to a crisp, then it comes back and he's regular again. He just shook off all the burnt ashes and crisp. I don't know. We'll find out next chapter. But thank you guys for dropping in. And again, I'm sorry for the delay on this one. I'm Anime Okage, signing out.